The step up is potentially one of the best or most impactful lower body exercises because it really targets everything you need for good function when it comes to running. We're looking at lower body strength, looking at stability, balance, neuromuscular control, and just proper positioning of the pelvis, okay? So when we perform the step up, it's always good to start with a step or a stair that's lower rather than higher. What you'll notice if you go to something, see the bench is a little bit higher than the step here. If you go to something that's too high, my knee is above my hip, I really have to almost push myself off the ground and force myself up. But also what it does, so we'll assume this is the same height for now. What this also does is if I'm kind of in this position, my pelvis is kind of twisted here in the frontal plane, okay? So my right side, I'm on my right foot, is higher than the other side. To create good stability at the lower extremity, we want the pelvis to be level straight across, if not slightly higher on the other side, on that moving side, right? On the side that's really not pushing down into the step. So finding a step that's appropriate height is very important. Other key thing is alignment, okay? So if I'm standing here on the step and I go to pull up, I want to make sure my knee is not shifting around. So this is really where you get into that neuromuscular control, stability, and balance aspect of this, which really carries over to running, since running is such a single leg dominant activity. What I want to do is always make sure ankle, knee, and hip are maintaining this nice vertical alignment. I'm trying to hold that throughout the exercise because as you go up and down, there's this tendency to allow that knee to cave inward. So really works on stability, the foot, knee, and hip, okay? Another key point on the step up is body position. What I've noticed is more upright you are, the more quad dominant or knee dominant this exercise can be. But if you lean forward slightly, we shift a little bit more load to the hip. And I often find people are able to control their motion a little bit more with a slight forward lean. So especially when you're learning this movement, see the lean I have forward, driving up, single leg stance, bounce at the top, leaning forward, and controlling back down versus being upright. A little bit harder to control yourself in that position. So there is no right or wrong whether you want to be more upright or lean forward. Just understand that leaning forward will help you master this movement a little more quickly and feel more engagement from the lateral hip muscles, okay? So just to see the step up through several reps from in my position, again, I kind of start on the back toe just a little bit. So I want to get away from pushing off that. So I'm already trying to load my front leg. I'm going to come up, drive up, balance, straighten out this limb, hips forward, nice vertical position, lean forward, and then let that leg slowly come to the ground, but my top leg is what's controlling me down. Because if I can really focus on utilizing that top leg to do everything and maintain position of my pelvis, top leg lowers me as opposed to letting that leg fall and then shifting out of position, okay? So just maintaining that position of the pelvis, coming up, top leg lowers, pelvis moves as one all the way down, okay? These are the key things that really translate over to more efficient running rather than working on performing a step up, lifting as heavy as possible, which builds strength, but being in an improper position. Okay, once you master the step up, I definitely recommend, even though it's a single leg exercise, unlike squats or deadlifts, try to add some resistance to this to challenge yourself, but be aware of those key positions. Adding resistance can be helpful as well, because if I hold a dumbbell in front in this goblet position and I still implement that slight forward lean, this will act as a small counterbalance. So as you notice, as I come up, I lean forward, I have a counterbalance, the dumbbell is counterbalancing my body weight, I can actually control myself down a little bit more. So in a lot of instances, I actually have people use resistance sooner rather than later because I really feel like it helps them feel and appreciate the position more when they're able to slow down and control that. From there, if I've really mastered that, going to a 2 dumbbell hold. Again, same position, just different hold with the dumbbells. Coming up, control. Trying to make sure, you can see knee wants to trickle in there just a little bit, so I have to control my position and make sure I maintain alignment first, so I have proper stability and control of the lower limb. But once you start to add resistance, you really magnify those problems if you jump ahead too quickly. So master the basics with a body weight step up or the goblet step up, and then jump on to a 2 dumbbell step up from there. So that's a basic overview of how to complete the step up one of the most valuable exercises, something you really can't go wrong with, right? There's so many different variations. We went through 3 here: body weight, goblet, and 2 dumbbell. We can hold the plate overhead. We can do lateral step ups. There's so many variations we can perform. So I highly recommend perfecting that step up because you'll see a lot of results when it comes to your running.